Brilliant once again, Mick Harvey, Amanda Acevedo and Phantasmagoria in 2. And for those who aren't aware, so it's a learning curve for me with Amanda, and we'll find out more shortly. Mick, first time I saw you playing live, probably 1981, we've ascertained, with the birthday party at Rafters in Manchester.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So we go back.
I don't remember the club. I remember the name Rafters, but I don't have a visual picture of the club anymore. I suppose the Hacienda kind of got rid of that or something.
Yeah, well, that took over from the Electric Circus, and then, yeah, it turned into a rock club, actually, called Gillies, but that's another story.
I didn't know that one.
Altogether, yeah. So before we actually start talking about the album, which is Phantasmagoria in Blue, we've been out there munching down on some of Robert Forster's muesli.
Yeah, I, as happens on tour sometimes, I kind of failed to eat today. I don't know, other things kept happening, and I didn't get a moment to eat. And then I found the packet of Robert Forster's spring grain muesli out there, and was a bit terrified, actually. But it's the muesli's. I don't normally eat muesli, but under the circumstances, I really had to.
Well, it being an old friend of yours as well.
He's an old friend and associate, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be rude not to, really. But has that given you any ideas? Do you want to go off into some commercial enterprise yourself?
No, I'm not into that sort of thing.
Right. I'll take that as a no then. Okay then, so let's get to it. So Amanda and Mick, how did you meet in the first place?
Amanda.
Okay. Well, I have been a big fan of Mick for a long time now. And he was coming to a concert in Mexico City with PJ Harvey. And we had a bit of contact before because I posted something and he saw it or something, but he asked me
on
the
social
internet,
media.
on the ether,
Yeah.
and he asked me if I was coming, and actually in that moment it was really difficult for me to travel, and he said that if I manage, he will meet me, or he would add me on the guest list or something like that, and well. I made a special effort to meet him, and we met at a cafe. My dad was there, and it was really nice, and the show was incredible. It was beautiful, and after that we kept in touch a bit.
So that's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. That answers the first question. Thank you.
It does, yeah, and there are more questions. And so, were you already a fan of Mick's collaborative work? Because obviously, I mean, I say, we talk about Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds and the Birthday Party and the Boys Next Door, but he's done so many great collaborative works as well. Is that what you were aware of?
Yeah, actually, I really love the Bad Seeds very much, but I kind of connected more with his solo work for some reason, and that's why I wanted to see him perform.
Go figure.
I really like what he does, so I was really excited to meet him.
Okay, and so excited, probably a little bit nervous as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like I say, Mick, you've been in this situation before, so presumably you were in a good situation to kind of put Amanda's nerves at ease and just make her feel at ease with the situation, I suppose.
What, when we first met? Yeah. Well, I mean, I would try to, yes. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine why she'd be nervous, but I understand. If I think about it separate from my, then I understand that that's the way it could be. But it just seems a bit surreal to me. I don't.
Okay, let me put this to you then, Mick. Sorry.
Understand that.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough in a way.
She was 17
actually,
at the time.
I didn't even eat that day, so you can imagine how nervous I was.
Yeah, of course. But
She was
Mick,
17, so I understand there was.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, you must have met somebody in the past. It depends. We're all different, aren't we? But I've met people that I kind of really look up to, and I've been very, very nervous meeting them. Sometimes on air. So who have you met who made you feel nervous?
No, I don't really actually feel like that.
You don't?
Good luck with that question. I tried before.
I really
Right,
don't.
okay.
I mean, about the only person who, Beth Gibbons, she made me nervous after I started talking to her.
Right. Okay. All right then.
So that was different.
Well, maybe you've just not met that many really famous people, Mick.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it. Okay. So, all right then. So you've established this relationship, and you're happy to work with each other. You're obviously Mexico City, and we've got Australia in the mix, and so it's not hugely convenient. So, how did you go about communicating?
Well, nothing was hugely convenient during those 2020 and 2021. We won't go into why. Everybody knows why.
Yeah.
And so we started exchanging things across the ether, as it were.
Yeah,
and,
because of this event, we had more free time, and he was more available. Because before we would chat, I don't know, once a month, if I was lucky. Just it was not really a close relationship. He just kept in touch because he knew it was like important for me, and it was very nice to hear every once in a while from him. But then with the pandemic, sorry, I mentioned it.
Well, if you didn't, I was going to, because some people out there might be going, what's he on about?
Yeah, with the pandemic, I was actually really isolated and I was a bit depressed. And then he was more available, so we started talking and I asked him for advice with stuff and he was just really open and welcoming, so that was really helpful for me.
And that's my reputation, you know, I have that reputation.
That's how we started to actually have a bond or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and one day he offered if I needed anything else because, before that he once sent me a box with CDs and stuff. So he said, if you need anything else, you can ask. And when that happened, I thought it was a general offer. So I said, what if we record a song together just for fun? It doesn't need to be public or anything. I just want some little treasure from you, something that I can...
Oh, we actually didn't say about it not being public, but you just asked for a song.
I did. I said it could not be public and you could record it with your phone or something like that.
She's rewriting history here live on the radio.
Sorry, no.
Anyway,
there are a few interviews that have that story. So.
Okay.
Anyway, you can continue, so it's more accurate.
No. My memory's shot. So anyway,
but it's an eclectic mix. It's a very eclectic mix. And so, who can I ask? You've already done "Love Is a Battlefield," which is Pat Benatar, which is not immediately the first artist I would have put in mind. Who chose that?
That was one of the songs that had a kind of strange way into the project because it came through another starting point where I'd been working on that song for someone who was developing a play. He was actually developing a Sam Shepard play called Fool for Love, and she wanted to use that song in the play where there's normally a Merle Haggard song or something, and she asked me to do a version of it, and I was like, I had an aversion to the very idea of doing the song. Of course, not that I disliked the song in principle. I mean,
it's got some baggage, though, hasn't it?
Well, it has some production and attitude baggage, but the song itself is actually. Once I looked at it, it was like, well, actually, it's not a bad song, actually. And so anyway, I developed that as a kind of duet, but that was actually not for this project. So that kind of came in from sort of sideways into the project, and obviously it's a bit of a weird one because it's
I think because the original project was cancelled or something like that, so he had the idea in his mind.
Yeah, they couldn't use it because they couldn't afford it. Of course, it was just an independent play.
Right,
they were producing, and then the publishers wanted, some amount of money, $20 or something. They just couldn't afford it.
Right.
Yeah, and one day he said, I'm working on this song. And I thought it was a joke first. I would never imagine he would be working on that song. And I was like, really?
Really?
He showed it to me and said, what if we do it together?
It was already it was already developed in the duet style that we were working on things with. So I kind of brought it and said, well, maybe we should try this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking like Tim Buckley and Serge Gainsbourg and Lee and Nancy and Pat Benatar, it works, like you're saying, when you strip it down like that and it's not got all the kind of bombastic production values and all that, then it is a good song underneath all that, isn't it? Okay, so we're loving the record, we've been playing it. Before you do two more tunes for us, Mick, you were saying before that there's been the already premiered, the Birthday Party documentary.
Yeah, it was at the Melbourne Film Festival, so it's premiered there, and it's apparently on some kind of limited theatrical release already in the States. It's called Mutiny in Heaven, The Birthday Party, and I don't know, I suppose it'll be coming out, it'll be released sometime later in the year or early next year in Europe.
Right.
Which, and the UK, which is still part of Europe. And,
don't get all political on me. You'll get me the sack.
I'm just geographical. I'm just looking geographically. So it's something to look out for. I think it's really good documentary, really interesting, quite an unusual, bit of a different approach to a music documentary, I think it's fair to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has it got any unseen footage of the birthday party?
It does have a few bits and pieces you won't have seen, I think.
And animations.
From some interesting animations and it's told, the story is basically told by four of us, not Tracy. There was no audio interviews of Tracy that we could use,
Right.
but it's told by the members of the band,
Right.
essentially.
Fabulous.
And
Okay.
there's not really many talking heads, and there's hardly anybody else who speaks in the whole documentary. So it's just the music and us talking people through the history of the band, and it's so it's quite unusual, and I think it's quite effective and kind of powerful and abrasive and pretty ugly as well.
Yeah, I cannot wait. One of my favourite bands, as you know. So, okay then. So,
Well, very few bands do get a mention in the film. I think there's about 4 bands that get mentioned in total, and one of your former bands is actually one of them. So there you
right.
go.
Okay. All right then. Well, you can always edit it out further down the line. You
I
know, if you
can't.
want.
It's gone way beyond that point.
Oh no. Right. Okay. So you're going to do 2 more tunes for us now, then. So Mick and Amanda, and you're going to do. Is it in this order? The Blue Unicorn and She Won't.
Seems about right.
It is.
Yeah.
Have I got guitar here?
Is everything working?
Oh,
There we
it
go.
is. There it is. Okay. Yeah, we're